Here we start Redux Toolkit. This is the last of this React.js concept. So before that, first I make a new branch and commit all the changes. Uh, First git add, and I want a branch from Redux-Thunk because from Redux-Thunk the code changes be much easier than Redux-Saga because Redux Toolkit is made on internally. It uses redux-thunk, so it's easy to change your code. So first I check out on redux-thunk branch and then make a new branch from redux-thunk. Git checkout space -v space and your branch name. This is the branch implement redux toolkit redux.js. Now I am redux toolkit branch, and after that you install redux toolkit. For redux toolkit there is two npm required. First one is redux react redux and second one is redux toolkit. For installing redux toolkit you need to write npm space install space @redux.js and / toolkit, and for saving package.json then -save. I already installed react redux, so if you want to install then you can, otherwise leave it because at starting we install the react redux. So this is react space minus redux. These two are the npm dependency which is required for the redux toolkit. And now I start my project. For starting redux toolkit, here I make several folder and then file. First I make a toolkit folder, and inside I make all the file and folder related to toolkit. First one is reducer, second one is slice, and third one is state. And for working with the asynchronous operation, I make a folder thunk. Asynchronous operation like creating the request, or and here I also include .env file. So for if you use env at the starting, there is compulsory in React, you name as react underscore app and then your variable. And here first I make a file for the state which I already make in reducer. So first I copy from that. This is the initial state, and I make two separate files for the related to authentication, and the second one is for user details. In future video I will make a video uh, to connect this application with the Java, and I use Spring Boot, and I make first a monolithic REST API and second one is microservices. So I will use both of them. And next I make a file auth user thunk.js. First I want to create request related to register. For that you import create async thunk, and this is come from your redux.js toolkit. And here auth / register user is your like action type, and second argument is call your operation. Here I call a async. And redux toolkit code is much related your Redux-Thunk. So when you, if you have some basic concept of Redux-Thunk, then you can easily use Redux Toolkit. Basically, this there is a uh, some there is a advancement in code, like you don't need to write much code in Redux Toolkit. So first I make a try and catch block and copy from my previous auth action which I use in Redux-Thunk, and here I simply validate user, and for dispatching action type here is a simply return reject with value, and this is this is returned in object. So you given as key and value pair, and after write a request for checking email, means validate if email is present or not. And I also copy all the code from auth action which I used in Redux-Thunk, and now I can change the code like here dispatch simply return with the reject value. There is no need of action type, only pass message type and message. Now remove the return, and if data.length less than 0 then this validation, otherwise I make another response for registering the user. Again in place of dispatch, but in case of success you need to focus that you simply return the message type and message, because if you return as an object then you can't navigate. And then else if the status is not equal to 201 then error related to registration failure. And this payload.form I will put in before the return and inside if condition if response.status, because I want to clear the form and then want a message. So this is the check, and here this is the catch. Okay, now I make a comment so I can easily distinguish which one is registration, login and logout, and I make a copy, another copy for login user, and name this function as in small not caps login user thunk. User is a spelling mistake, so make a user. Okay, and here I simply get email and password from payload. If empty then return a validation, and here auth and / then login user. And for again I check the email, and if not present then simply if email which I type in input field I didn't get response from the server, the simply email enter is not present. And for password, and also I remove this one and copy from the auth action from login. And for user for password I copy all if else. Here for password validation, password check, if password doesn't match then simply return with reject with value as in key object, and simply pass message type and message. And else, and but before that I also want to check as a response. If I didn't get response then in that case I also want to check validation. For that, here I got a response as 201 200, because this is a get request, not post. In post you get a 201, and in get request you got 200. But if you are using is fetch API or using Axios, then first I suggest that first you console your value and then check, because in maybe in that case you got a 20 or 201 for post and get. So first to check and then validate your code. And after, if I get 200, then simply I want to navigate to dashboard or redirect to dashboard after login. And if any failure, then simply I return error with the message that user login failed, means something wrong. I think this is done for login, and last for logout. Uh, One main advantage of Redux Toolkit that you can easily change or manipulate your state, direct change on state, but internally it not direct change, uh, change the original state, but make a carbon copy of the original one and then change it, like react.js work on DOM and uses virtual DOM. So that similar way Redux Toolkit uh, change or manage the state. So for logout, I again return this. So if any error, then I think there is no need of this error. Simply in case of logout, I return and also navigate. So simply return, not reject with value. And before return, I navigate to login page, and here, and I pass is login false and current user ID removed, so I make a null and message be empty string. So this is your logout thunk. And after, if you make a thunk, then make a reducer, auth reducer. I make a separate reducer, so you can so if you make your project big, then you can easily code your and categorize all the thunks and reducer easily. So this first one is auth reducer, and I make another for user update and delete account. So this is the extra reducer, because it's work on asynchronous operation. It's a naming convention, not mandated that you name only this extra, put you extra in your variable. It's a simply naming convention which follow Redux Toolkit. And first I, in bracket, I put register user thunk dot pending. If you think that this is an array, but this is not array, it's behave like a string, or it's a simple a string. uh, in Redux-Thunk you manage action type like success, failure, and something. So here you simply manage your action type by pending, fulfilled, and rejected. So this is the way that you manage your action type in Redux Toolkit. Here this is not an object, it's simple variable that here you simply manipulate the state or change the original state that you get the information from thunk. So I put the state dot message, state dot loading, or state dot message type. In case of rejected, I put the loading and message type and message. First one is related to our user registration. Now make second reducer for login user. This reducer is handle the scenarios related to login. So first import login user thunk from auth user thunk, and here I also want that if user login, then I put in local storage or change a local storage. I simply add the current user ID and user logged in as true in local storage. So this is the best part of this Redux toolkit. According to me, Redux-Thunk and Redux toolkit is best way to use as a for state management. Redux-Saga maybe, according to me, it's more complex as compared to Redux-Thunk and Redux toolkit. So here now, and again you put is logged in and current user ID in state. So if you get store in functional component, then you can easily get all these variables, all the like is logged in, current user ID, message type and message. And in case of rejected, simply I pass these values. Last one is for user logout. When user logout, then I simply remove this local storage item, and after that is loading false. I got all the information from Redux-Thunk, so there is no need to change here. Okay, I think reducer is also completed till I make auth state, auth user thunk, auth reducer. Now time for slice. Slice is related. Slice is like that call all your initial state and reducer or extra reducer. And here I make a create slice from Redux.js toolkit, and first name as auth. This is the initial point, and call the your initial state, which you make auth state. So before that, first export as default auth initial state, and in auth slice I get this state, and after that I make a reducer. For reducer, this is related to your when you registered and move to login, then your message is not removed. So for that I make a reducer here. So there is in Redux toolkit that how you can make a reducer. And for asynchronous operation, all the reducer come under in place of extra reducer. So this is the key which Redux toolkit is provide. And export the auth slice, and auth slice is a reducer, so auth slice dot reducer. I export this to one, and for clear message action I also as a separate, because this is not a default export. So from this file auth slice I export two things, clear message action and auth slice reducer. And I think there is a last in store. But for that I simply first delete the action type and reducer related to authentication, because there is no need. I write all the code and first remove from the login, and clear message action is now called from the Redux Toolkit reducer. And for dispatching your action, simply call login user thunk, which you make in your auth thunk file. Auth user thunk. Same for registration. Remove the unnecessary code and import clear message action and import register user thunk. Alright, register user thunk. And last one for navbar for logout. Remove the logout user action because don't need. Now call logout user thunk, and there is an error in auth reducer. I think I forget to write termination here. So this is not an object, simply act as variable. Not here because it's a object stringify. Now here write this. Sometime my keyboard is stuck, so if I hit if I press the button but it is not reflected on VS Code. And here it is still error showing me line number is 30 here, then here, and 150. Okay, now I forget to import Axios and base URL in Thunk. So now I import manually. Import, this is not a default export, so simply I import as in braces, then go 3 folder up and then API folder and get the file. And still there is an error, get auth reducer user hyphen context. Okay, in store. Now last changes in store.js file. So first I make another variable for all reducer, and for that I simply get as I want get as an object key and value pair. First one is auth user. I call the auth slice, and for auth user detail I put as same as, because till now I not change code. So only currently I'm only working on authentication. Next, for store, simply call configure store from Redux Toolkit and then pass your reducer, and then this is the add-on feature. If you want, then simply I call a devtools process.env.node.env, which call from the .env file. And if production, then if this devtool is not working or not showing me any configuration related to devtools, this work on if you are not in production. Okay, if I check my login, registration and logout, if I log in, then it store the values in local storage, but there I think there is an issue, it not store the value here. Validation part is working fine, means after pending, fulfillment is not working, fulfilled is not working. So there is the issue. I forget to call logout user thunk and then Second one is forget this is logged in value is get from action.payload dot is logged in. So this value is not set in local storage. Now change in here, and if I okay, there is also change here. Now I think login registration and logout part is working fine with the Redux toolkit. And after that I make one or two more videos related to Redux toolkit, and second video is related to your getting user details and updating, and last one I will show all the code related to Redux toolkit. So this part is fully finished, and then after I will make I will connect this React.js project with Java monolithic and microservices. Thank you.